Did you know that Medicare premiums when you're retired are most likely going up faster than your investment returns?
This is a scary and very real problem. We're Shannon and Michael. We're with Healthcare Genius, and we're here to really dive into the details. Michael, can we start by just taking a step back and looking at, from a historical perspective, at what this problem has looked like?
Absolutely. When Medicare started, there was no Part D, and Part B premiums were $3 a month. This year in 2020, they're $144 and change. So if you look at that historically with that average rate of inflation, it's over 7.5%. So again, as we mentioned, probably more than most people are earning on their investments when they're retired. Now, it's a little more complicated than that though, because if you're making less than $87,000 in 2020, then your rates may not be going up as significantly as other people's rates. And that kind of goes back to what we call the punch in the gut tax, or the Medicare surcharges, or IRMA, lots of names for it, that Medicare instituted back in 2007.
Now, if you're not familiar with that concept, feel free to check out some of our other videos on the punch in the gut tax from Social Security or on Medicare means testing. Essentially, it means the more money you make in retirement, the more you pay for the same coverage, specifically for Parts B and D.
That's right. Now, why is it different for the different brackets? And you'll see on the screen what we put up that shows you the different income brackets and what their average rate of inflation has been. Now, again, remember, means testing has only been around since 2007, but premiums for somebody who's making less than $87,000 this year, they've risen by about 3.14%. And that's because of what's called the Hold Harmless Act. That was put in place by Congress to limit people's increases on Medicare to what they were having to pay or what they were getting in increases in Social Security. So the government didn't want people having to have all of their Social Security increase and then some go towards paying Medicare Part B premiums.
Now, Michael, what about everybody else? So anybody that makes over $87,000 a year, are they protected?
They're not, nor are people who happen to turn 65 in a given year. So if you're turning 65 in 2020, you don't get protected by that hold harmless. If you're in those higher brackets, more than 87,000, then you pay in a higher cost. And so if we just take a look at each bracket, if you make more than 87, then that increase has actually gone up almost 5% compounded annually. If you're over 109, it's 6.7%. Over 136, 7.81. Over 163, 8.58, and over 500,000, 8.58. So you can see the higher income you have in retirement, the higher your costs and the higher increases that you're seeing in your Medicare Part B premiums.
Yep, you're paying more and more, and that number is increasing at a faster rate.
And when you look at Social Security, if we take that back over 20 some years, those payments have only increased by 2.58%. So at some point, for higher income earners, there will come a time, if it continues on this trend, where they may actually not see a Social Security check because Medicare Part B and D premiums consume the entire amount.
That's right. And for a lot of people, it's really not that far away. We have a report that we've created that gives projections on what your healthcare costs will be in retirement. So it takes all of this into account, including the taxation piece, and it also takes your Social Security into account. And there are some people that are in their 50s that they won't ever see Social Security because by the time they turn 65, their Medicare payments are going to be so high that it eats up their entire Social Security check. And at that time, what happens is you're actually writing a check for your Medicare premiums to the Social Security Administration.
Not even looking into the fact that somewhere down the road, the government may actually attach means testing to Social Security. So the more money you make in retirement, they may lessen your Social Security payments, number one. Two, if you looked at your latest Social Security statement, it essentially says that by 2035, that they'll only be able to pay out 77 cents on the dollar. Add all of those in, which we do, by the way, in the report. We forecast some of that. When you add all that in, a lot of higher income earners will be writing a check to the government for Medicare, Part B and D, and receiving no Social Security. Oh, and by the way, they'll still have to pay tax on the Social Security benefits that they do receive.
If you'd like to take a look at the report that we've mentioned, it's a complimentary report, takes about a minute to put in just some high-level information about yourself, and there's a link to do that in our description below. If you want some help on how to navigate through this problem and you want to get a head start on planning, which we encourage everybody to do, feel free to apply to become a client, and we'd love to chat with you on what your options are. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like our videos, check out our other videos on Medicare and retirement, and make sure you subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to see when we come out with new stuff.